Welcome. Now we are going to talk about advanced level of conditional classes. In the previous segment, we talked about the basic level of conditional classes that normally everybody knows that. But here we are going to talk about something at detail level, which is a lot of grammar books will not teach you this thing. So this will help you. Come, let's go. Using other verb tenses for general truths and habits. If you remember, we talked about the zero condition. In the zero condition classes, we used both only present tense in the if class as well as present tense in the main class. It is used to talk about general truth and habits, but here it is something you can use other tenses also. That's what present continuous. But only the present form of this tenses can be used: present continuous, present perfect continuous. And we don't need to use the same tense in both classes also. We can vice versa change it. But come, let's see. The first thing, we can also use different present tenses if you're talking about general truth. Look at the first one. Example: if this paint dried properly, it is waterproof. Generally, if you take a normal level, we use only present tense in the if class and the what we call present tense in the main class. But here it is not a present tense, it's a present perfect tense. This is also correct. If this paint has dried properly, it is waterproof. Look at the next example. We can also use modal verbs in either class, especially can and may. Look at the example. If I move around, I can concentrate better. If I move around, I can concentrate better. Here, modal verb can is used instead of will. Look at the next one. If you want to tell people how they should behave or give gentle advice, we can use an imperative in the main class. Imperative, it is a kind of statement which issue an imperative statement. Order, it can be order, sometimes it can be request also. Look at this one. Example: if you discover a fire, call the brigade immediately. Here, call the brigade immediately is imperative sentence. Normally, imperative sentence, one type of imperative sentence starts with what we call action verbs. We call it as instructions also sometimes. We may call it as imperative, otherwise we can call it as instructions also. Here it gives you the instruction. If you discover a fire, call the fire brigade immediately. If you have a headache, take some paracetamol. Take some paracetamol, it's a tablet, just gives it. These are the normally we may not know. A lot of people will have a confusion whether it is right or wrong, but actually in the conditional class rule it says that only present tense in the present tense or present tense in the future tense. But here, vice versa, these are the exceptions. You can use it what you call comfortably. That's what all these are advanced level. Look at the next one. Present real conditionals for specific situations. I think if you want, I don't want to go detail about the rules. Straight away, let me talk about the example. If it's raining outside now, we can call a cab. Yeah, it's a modal verb that we have seen in the previous example also, but here it is a present continuous tense. If it's raining outside now, we can call a cab. It's also right sentence. If John and Amanda are on their way here now, you should start making dinner. Here it is a what you call, again it's imperative, not a straight imperative, it's a kind of what you call advice. Now you can what you call know about the explanation. We can also use real conditional to talk about something specific in the present, not something that is general truth or a habit, and the result that is in the future or present. It is common to use a modal verb in the main class. That's what this exactly suits these two examples. Look at there. If it is raining outside now, it is now. Immediately we can call a cab. John and Amanda are on their way here now. You should start making dinner. It's because otherwise You cannot serve them in such meaning they are giving it. For the next one. And another one, if Lucy is at home, she will be reading. Actually, if Lucy is at home, it's a present tense. Actually, Lucy is at home, she will be reading. Normally, instead of simple only future tense, you can use future conditional, future continuous also. Look at the next example. We can also use a real conditional to talk about something specific in the present, not something that is general truth or a habit, and as a result that is in the future or present. It's a specific. Look at the example. If it's raining outside now, we can call a cab. John and Amanda are on their way here now. You should start making dinner. The same example I have given in the previous slides also, but the exact explanation here. Use a real conditional to talk about something specific in the present. And another example, if we didn't want to cook, we went to a restaurant. Why God? Both are in the past tense. Yes, you can do that. Look at the thing. We can also use conditionals to talk about habits and things that used to be true in the past, but they are no longer true now. In that situation, you can use these. Both are in the past tense. You can use it. If we didn't want to cook, we went to a restaurant. That means normally it used to be your regular habits in the past. If there was too much rain, the roads flooded and we didn't go to school. Again, it happened in the regularly. It happens in the if it happens in the past, you can use this thing. If there was too much rain, the roads flooded and we didn't go to school. Let us go to the next one. If my father was reading, we weren't allowed to disturb him. See, I'm first I'm straight away going for the example, then we'll go to the rule. If I had worked late, I still got up for my early lecture. If I had worked late, I still got up for my early lecture. That means you got up quickly for your early lecture. But look at the example again. If my father was reading, it's a past continuous tense. We weren't allowed to disturb him. It's a simple past tense. We were not allowed to disturb him. If I had worked late, past perfect tense, I still got up for my early lecture. That is a past tense. Then now let's see the rule. We can also use the past continuous to show that something started before and finished after another action in the past. This is normally used for the past perfect tense. The past perfect to show that one thing happened before the another thing in the past. Let me repeat. We can also use the past continuous to show that something started before and finished after the another action. That's what if my father was reading, it's over. We weren't allowed to disturb him. One completed before the another one. That's a two past even. The past perfect, if I had worked late in the past even, still got up. Again another past thing, because both past tenses when you use, you can use these kind of combinations. Generally, it is not. You will not learn about these kind of thing in the basic level of conditional classes. See, very important before we move to this thing. And now it is a past real conditionals. I will be talking about a lot of example sentences. I will focus much. Please, all of you listen to the example. Not look at the example sentences. This will help you a lot how to use the conditional classes in a different way. It may clarify a lot of your doubts. Clear? Shall we go? Thank you. Look at this. This is past real conditionals. When you talk about the past real conditionals, what are the other tenses you can use? Some kind of stuff. Look at there. If I had free time, I used to go snowboarding. But generally, we use in the conditional class, if I had a free time, I would go snowboarding. Only normally we use. But here, that's what the other different usages, advanced level usages. You can use both. That's what used to do would for past habits. Past habit actually. If I had a free time, I would read a novel in little cafe near my house. These things used to and would used to refer your past. Look at that, or past habits, not in the present habit. You can use past models also in either class. In either class, you can use a past model. If I could, I went snowboarding. If I had free time, I could go snowboarding. Here it's a what you call model. Actually, this is a model verb. It's not. You should not consider something else. It's a model verb. If I could, I went snowboarding. If I had free time, I could go snowboarding. And real conditions in the future. That's the first condition. We talked. What are the other way? It rains. If it rains, I'll stay at home. It's a normal rule which you know very well. But we'll go to the other complicated thing. Now come here. We can also use other present tenses. If it's raining at 10 a.m., I'll stay at home. If it is raining at 10 a.m., I'll stay at home. Even though we are using present continuous, we are still talking about future rain. That this is some kind of different thing. Real conditionals, but in the future. If it's raining at 10 a.m., you are using the sentence. Imagine that 6 a.m. So it's a future one, but we are using present continuous tense, but it denotes the future action. If it's raining at 10 a.m., I'll stay at home. If it rains, I'm going to stay at home. You can use present tense in the class, straight away future, not a future tense. Normally we'll use future tense, but here present continuous tense. If it rains, I'm going to stay at home. Actually here, am going to, it denotes a future thing. Generally we used to say that I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to build a house, I'm going to get a new mobile phone. All this I'm going to means it talks about the future tense. Not a future tense, it's a future action can be given in the present continuous form. That's what, if it rains, I'm going to stay at home. Next one, if it rains, take your umbrella. That's what imperative form, which we have seen already, I guess. If it rains, don't forget to close the windows. That's imperative form. Here, look at there, different use of might, may, can, should, could, must. Look at there. Might, may, can, should, could, must can be used in the main class. Look at this. But the sentence is the same, but only we change the models. If it rains, we might stay at home. If it rains, we may stay at home. If it rains, we can stay at home. If it rains, we should stay at home. If it rains, we could stay at home. If it rains, we must stay at home. You can use all these combinations. This is perfectly correct. Next, real conditionals in the future. We can use can, may and must with their usual meanings in the if class. If I must, I will come at 10 a.m. If I can, I'll come at 10 a.m. If I may, I'll come at 10 a.m. That is, if I am allowed, I will come at 10 a.m. All these things are, we can use with, this is something peculiar usage. We don't use these kind of usages and all, rare, but you can use it. Your sentence will be something different from a normal level of writing sentences. You can try using these sentences. Next. Same thing, real condition in the future. We can make the condition less certain by using should or happen to. Very important. Should or happen to, or both in the if class, only in the if class, not in the main class. Should is extremely formal and sounds old-fashioned, and now that is these kind of usages, they are saying that old-fashioned, but still if you can use, nothing wrong in it. These examples mean that I am not very sure that it will rain. Look at the one. If it should rain, I will stay at home. If it happens to rain, I'll stay at home. If it should happen to rain, I'll stay at home. It's very important because normally these examples mean that I'm not very sure that it will rain. But we never, you could have never come across these kind of example of writing example sentences. So you can try using this. If it should rain, instead of using old conventional sentences, you can write, if it should rain, I will stay at home. If it happens to rain, I'll stay at home. If it should happen to rain, I'll stay at home. All these examples you can use. Next. This is what very important. You can drop. We can make first conditional very formal by dropping by dropping if and using should with inversion. That is, instead of if should it rain, now if it should rain, we have seen in the previous sentence, instead of should it rain, first should, then subject, then verb, what you call a verb. Should it rain, I'll stay at home. It's a very formal one. Let me repeat, in the previous sentences we have used if it should rain, I'll stay at home. But that can be converted to more formal, like dropping if. That is, you will remove if, instead we use should, but don't use it should rain, I'll stay at home. Should it rain, I'll stay at home. It gives you the entire very factual way of writing, I would say, but it's very formal. You can use it absolutely. Next one. We can use will or won't in the if class when we are using them with their modal meanings. Modal meanings of willingness, refusal, insistence. Actually, when you use will and won't in the meaning of willingness, refusal and insistence, you can use it in the if class. Otherwise, we don't use future tense because we generally never use future tense in the if class. But this case, it's what you call exemption, and it's advanced level usage. Only in the if class you can use in the meaning of willingness, refusal, insistence. Use will or won't. If you won't help, I won't either. That means here in the meaning of refusal. If he refuses to help, I won't either. Instead of using refuses, you can use if you won't help, I won't either. If he refuses to help, that's the meaning. Next one. Here it is willing. If you will arrive early, if you are willing to come early, I'll be very grateful. Here the meaning is willing to come early. If you will arrive early, I'll be very grateful. Third sentence. If you will smoke so much, of course you will get a sore throat. Insist on smoking so much. In the meaning of insist on smoking so much. If you will smoke so much, of course you will get a sore throat. This is again different usage. Please keep in your mind. Will or won't can be used in the if class also. If they are used in the meaning of willingness, refusal and insistence. Otherwise, it is not permitted to use. Next. First, we'll go to the example. If we don't hurry up, the film will have started. If we miss this train, our flight will have left. Actually, the full stop should be here, and wrong it is here. If you don't hurry up, the film will have started. Actually, here it is the present tense, but here future perfect conditional. Here present tense again. If we miss the train, our flight will have left. But how can you use this combination? Let us see the rule. We can use will have plus past participle in the main class to talk about something that will happen before another point in the future. If it happens before another point in the future, you can use will have plus past participle. If you don't hurry up, the film will have started. That is, film will start is a one point. Before that, we have started. We are talking about the two future things. That time you can use that. Generally, we use this kind of syntax in the third condition main class, but here it is an exemption. You can see that you can use it in the present tense when the past will have plus past participle, and there's a small explanation here. Look at there. If we miss this train, our flight will have left when we go to the airport. It is imbibed. You should think in such way. Next, mixed time real conditionals. Here, how the conditional classes can be mixed. See, we can use a past tense or the present perfect in the if class to say that we are not certain that action in the if class really happened. But if it did happen, this is the result. Look at this. If John has seen my message, he'll be on his way here. If John has seen my message, he'll be on his way here. Actually, these kind of thing we have seen in the previous thing also. If the paint has dried, in that example we have used in the zero condition, if you remember, the same kind of usage. If John has seen my message, he will be on his way here. Actually, I don't know if John has seen my message or not, but if he has, he will be on his way. In that meaning, you are saying that you are not sure about whether John has sent your message, but you are telling that in that meaning, if he has seen, John has seen my message, he will be on his way here. Otherwise, he may not. Another example: if Julie went to the concert last night, she will be tired today. I think Julie went to the concert, so I assume she will be tired today. It's assumption only. This is something, another usage. If she caught the train, she should be here now. If she caught the train, she should be here now also. Correct? The explanation. We can also use a past tense or a present perfect in the if class. When we think the condition in the if class happened, that's very important. And we want to draw a conclusion from it. The action happened. We want to draw a conclusion from that. We can use in such way. Julie went to the concert last night. She'll be tired today. If she caught the train, she should be here now. Then next example. If David's studying now, that is, if David is studying now, I'll turn the music down. If David's studying now, I'll turn the music down. That this is also correct. We can use present continuous in the if class and a future tense in the main class. If we want to say that a situation happening now will have an effect on the future, because if David's studying now, I'll turn the music down. What effect it will create? If you don't turn down the music, his mark may affect. That's what the effect. It will have an effect on the future. Next, if she got 100% on the exam, she must have studied very hard. It's sometimes possible to have an if class referring to the past. That's what, if she got 100% on the exam, and the main class referring to the present or future. Here it refers to the future, especially with must have and can't have for reduction. So here it's must have is there. So if she got 100% on the exam, she must have studied very hard. And I'll leave this. I don't want to have this explanation. Straight away I will go to this. For a general truths conditionals, present habit conditionals and past habit conditionals, we can replace if with when or whenever. That is, instead of using, you can remove the if, you can add either when or whenever. Imagine, if you mix oil with water, it floats. So you remove the if, so it becomes when you mix oil with water, it floats. Or whenever you mix oil with water, it floats. The same kind of example. If you add 2 and 2, you get 4. Whenever you add 2 and 2, you get 4. The same example goes like this. Whenever my husband cooks dinner, I clean up. Whenever John goes to London, he visits his sister. Whenever we didn't want to cook, we went to a restaurant. Whenever my father was reading, we weren't allowed to disturb him. So this is another new thing. In the place of if, you can use when or whenever also. When I have a day off, I like to go swimming. That's what. If I have a day off, I like to go swimming. This is what they have used. When I have a day off, I like to go swimming. Look at there. There is another trick here. When I have a day off, I like to go swimming. It means that I often have days off. If I have a day off, I like to go swimming means I don't often have days off. So this means that you will have the off regularly, but here you will not get all days off regularly. That's what, I don't often have days. So that time when you don't get quite often, you are supposed to use if I have a day off, I like to go swimming. But when you use when I have a day off, I like to go swimming, it means that you have often, I often That is, you have often days off. Look at another example. If it stops raining, we will go out. I don't know if it's going to stop or stop raining or not. In that occasion, you can use, if it stops raining, we will go out. When it stops raining, we will go out. That is, here you are not sure about when it will stop, but here you are sure about when the rain will stop. And again, these are the explanation part. I don't want to go into that, but straight we'll go to the example. If I had enough money, I would buy a car, but actually don't have enough money. If I knew her phone number, I would call her, but I don't know her phone number. Actually, the trick here, know her phone number, I would call her. Actually, it's a regular one only. Actually, it's an unreal condition. There is no something new in the rule. Here, if I had enough money, it's a past tense. Normally, past tense followed by would. That is, in the main class, it will be going with would plus verb. That is was there. But why we have used here? Let us see the explanation. This can be one specific thing or things in the general. We use the past simple in the if class and would plus infinitive in the main class. This is the classic second condition. That's what already I have told you. The same thing they have given here. And look at the same thing. Instead of would, you can use other word could or might also. If I knew her number, I could call her. If I knew her number, I might call her. Instead of would, I would call her. You can use I could call her, I might call her also, or I ought to call her also. And we can, very important, we cannot use models that don't have a past form. If a particular model verb, if it doesn't have the past form, you cannot use in the if class. Look at there. If I was still at school, I would have to wear uniform. If I was still at school, I must wear a uniform. This is wrong because can't use model that don't have a past form like must. There is no past form for the must. Only one form. Must will be used only one, but when you have a can, imagine that if I was still at school, I can wear a uniform, but the sentence actually meaningfully wrong sentence. But can have the past form could, may have a past form might, but must that they don't have the past form, so that cannot be used in the main class. We can use where instead of was. This is very important. Normally in the if class we will not use was. We will never use if he was president, he would raise taxes. So normally we will be using only was. We will not be using was, we will be using only where, even though it is singular. If he were president, he would raise tax. If it were summer, we could go to the beach. If she were a student, she would live at the university. This is only this is the case only when you use in the if class. You are not allowed to use was, only where, though it is a singular also. Look at the next one. If I were you, I wouldn't eat all the chocolate. This is the same example. See, please make a note. I am not giving much focus to the explanation part. I am giving a lot of examples so that you can keep in your mind what kind of sentences you can write using what we call different conditionals. Were I rich, I wouldn't do this job. Okay. Let me ask you the question. How will you make this into a if class? Were I rich, I wouldn't do this job. It is a formal one because we have seen already one. And here, if I were rich, I wouldn't do this job. If I were rich, here simply to make more formal, if has been dropped, where has been brought front, and I next. That's a subject. Were I rich, I wouldn't do this job. Were you the president, would you raise the taxes? So this is very formal sentences. Very simple one, you can use it in your regular writing. Next one, unlikely or impossible things in the future. First, let's see the common one. If I had enough time next week, I would come and see you. If she passed the exam, she could become a doctor. These all already we have checked the same examples. Look at the another one. If I had enough time next week, I could come and see you. Actually, what do they mean? We can use other past models in the same way as with impossible things in the present also. That's what they have given example. And we can also use where instead of was in the same way that we have seen the same thing. If it were July next month, we could go camping. If you came early and helped me get ready, it would be really helpful. This is very simple, very thing. You have used the two continuous, not continuous, two sentences in the past. You can call it a compound sentence. If you came early and helped me get ready, it would be really helpful. It's something unique. Actually, you can use past tenses in both verbs. Look at that, came and helped, and would plus be in the main class. This is let us see what they say in the explanation. In the same way that we often use the past tense when we are making request, in order to be more polite, we also use the unreal conditional to be polite, even if the conditional is quite likely to be fulfilled. Actually, to make more polite, we have used to like this. If you came early and helped me get ready, it would be really helpful. Next one, if you would help me, I would be grateful. Actually, here would we normally won't use in the what you call if class, but here we have used if you would help me. If you remember, you can recall why we are or where we can use, because won't, can't, these kind of things when you are using the what you call meaning of a refusal, polite and acceptance, because we have seen in the previous example. Not previous, no, I have explained you at the beginning. The same way here it is willing. Would is in the meaning of willing. If you are willing to, if you are willing to help me, I would be grateful. If they should agree to come, we would be delighted. Now, how to make more formal? Simple. Here, look at this. They have dropped if. They brought the should here. Then they, they moved they to the after the should. That's what should they agree to come same. We would be delighted. This is the way making if classes more formal, dropping the if and using the should. Should they agree to come, we would be delighted. I would strongly recommend you to to learn about this thing. Even if you want, you can memorize this. This will be very useful to write very formal sentences. Next one, you can make the condition weaker. We can also make the condition weaker by using happen to in the if class. We can use should and happen to together also. Look at that, happen to and should. If she happened to read the newspaper, she would see the article. If she should happen to read the newspaper, she would see your article. This is to make the condition weaker. We can use the structure be2 in future unreal conditionals. Let me go to the example, then you will understand. If she were to become a doctor, she would work in Canada. Here, if she were to become a doctor means I am very uncertain she is going to become a doctor. That is what we call. Now, if I give you the explanation, you will understand. If it is more formal and makes the speaker sound less certain than the usual use of the past simple, that time we can use where for all subject. If she were to become a doctor, she would work in Canada. Actually, I am very uncertain that she is going to become a doctor. In that case, you can use this sentence. And look at the other one. Yeah, same thing. How to make that previous sentence into more formal. Were she to become a doctor, she would work in Canada. If it was raining at 10 o'clock, we wouldn't go to the park. If it were raining at 10 o'clock, we wouldn't go to the park. Actually, here was now we will not use, so they changed it to where, and they have made it more formal. Where it raining at 10 o'clock, we will go to the park. These are all we have already seen enough examples. This one, continuous forms both classes. That is if class and main class. If I had been working, I would have gone to the party. Here, past perfect continuous tense, but future perfect conditional here. This is as usual, but instead of simple past perfect tense, they have used past perfect conditional. If I had been working, I would have gone to the party. If I hadn't been working, I would have been dancing at midnight. Here, they converted into the future perfect continuous. If I hadn't been working, I would have been dancing at midnight. Generally, I would have gone to. You can use in a way. I would have danced at midnight, but here I would have been dancing at midnight. If I had caught the plane, I would have been lying on the beach yesterday. If I had caught the plane, I would have been lying on the beach yesterday. Here, you can see the difference. Here, future perfect continuous tense they have used. Here also future perfect continuous. Here, past perfect continuous. These are the different usages. The same thing. Let me see. Yeah. The same thing. If I had been working, I could have gone to the party. If I had woken up earlier, I might have caught the plane. If her car hadn't broken down, what time would she have arrived? Yeah, this will be very useful to frame a question. If her car hadn't broken down, what time would she have arrived? And same thing. Had you got up earlier, you would have missed the plane. If you had got up earlier, you wouldn't have missed the plane in such way. They made it more formal. Had you got up earlier, we wouldn't have missed the plane. If she were to have thought about it a bit more, she wouldn't have done that. They made it more formal. Were she to have thought about it a bit more, she wouldn't have done that. Let me repeat. If she were to have thought about it a bit more, she wouldn't have done that. That was made into that has been made into more formal, dropping if and changing, inverting it. Were she to have thought about it a bit more, she wouldn't have done that. And what way you can mix the unreal conditionals? These are used to talk about something that is generally true but had a result in the past. If she wasn't French, she wouldn't have moved to Paris. If he wasn't so lazy, he wouldn't have failed the exam. If I was rich, I would have been able to buy a new car. This is very new past tense, but here would have usage. Then generally we don't use like this, but this is what you have to know here. If I could speak Spanish, I would have moved to Mexico. If I could speak Spanish, I would have moved to Mexico. Got it? Let's see the condition. If I had gone to bed earlier last night, I wouldn't be so tired now. If she hadn't spent all her money, she would be rich now. Other examples. This is called wish classes. When you want to talk about wish as a meaning equals with want or would like, when you want to something, when you would like to have something, it is called wish class. You can put in a sentence in such a way. It is called wish classes. Let us see. Forms of wish classes. That's what you wish about the present. Look at this. Ali is not as tall as his friend Agamemnon. Actually, this is the original thing. But Ali wishes he were as tall as his friend Agamemnon. Actually, he is not tall. He is not taller than his friend Agamemnon. But that time, Ali thinks that Ali wishes he were as tall as his friend Agamemnon. I don't know where he is in that situation. They are saying that I wish I knew where he was. See, somebody come and ask you where is your friend. You are saying that I don't know where he is. Instead of you can say I wish I knew where he was. I wish I knew where he was. Another thing, a wish about the past. He was not here yesterday, so he missed the party. That time, how can you give? I wish he had been here yesterday. I could not get up early yesterday, so I was late for my date. In this sentence, how can you make it a wish statement? I wish I could have got up early yesterday. Actually, the full stop is missed. We need to have a full stop at the end of the sentence. It's a typographical error. Sorry. I am sure it will be a wonderful picnic. When you talk about the wish about the future, I am sure it will be a wonderful picnic. If it is this thing, how can you give? I wish you would come too. You are driving too fast. I wish you would slow down. These are future wishes. And now let's come to the quick quiz. If it is sunny tomorrow, what you can use here? We sit in the sun too long. I'll give you the answer for that first two sentences. Remember, you have to identify. If it is sunny tomorrow, I will come out, or I will take sun bath, in such way. If you sit in the sun too long, if you want to put it in zero condition, if you sit in the sun too long, it is not good for health. It's a zero condition. If you sit in the sun too long, you may get skin problem. In such a way you can, because if it is sunny tomorrow and if you sit in the sun too long, in these two sentences I have given basic form of usage and different form of usage. In such a way you can note down all these things, you can identify the answers. If I were you, I will fill it up. If I were you, what would you do? If I were the Prime Minister, if she had studied harder, I won the lottery, if I hadn't gone to bed so late, if I hadn't come to London, you can fill up the remaining part anything, but I check yours. It's a self-checking quiz whether you understood or not. Otherwise, if you have a problem, after the end of this video, you can replay again. You can go to that particular part. You understand. You try to understand that rule. Then you can fill up this quiz. You can do this quiz. Another thing: if I go out tonight, if I were on holiday today, if I had listened to my mother, if I hadn't eaten so much, if it rains later, if I were British, if I were the opposite sex, if I have enough money, if you don't wear a coat in the winter, if I weren't studying in English. See, let me give you one final clue. You, based on the tense, you can identify the condition, and based on the context and meaning also you can identify the remaining half. You can fill it up. Clear? And thank you very much for having listened to my video. Even if I have failed to mention, please acknowledge. I strongly acknowledge that everything has taken from the internet. Thank you.